Jenny, you have stayed inside your house for a long time recently, haven't you?
Good morning, Patty. Recently, my company has been pushing for us to work from home, and so for a while now I've been working from within our office in the house. However, I'm still going into the office a few times every month for meetings and special projects.
Is that so? So the company you're working for has started to implement a system such as that for all its employees? Well, if that's the case, then you get out of my son's house right now.
Huh?
And by saying that, of course what I mean by that is I want you to divorce my son and leave.
How does me working remotely for my job happen to lead into you wanting me to leave your son?
Well, Jenny, the way that leads into you leaving my son is that I know about how you use that excuse of working remotely as a way to never get any of the chores there done.
Well, the only thing that's changed is that I'm working from my office here at home, but everything besides that has been the same since I've been married to your son.
And I bet the only reason they're having you work from home now is because they have no further use for you, and it'll only be a matter of time before they fire you, right? I mean, I don't blame them considering you were raised in a foster home all your life. How could a parentless child like you amount to anything in that company?
Patty, I think it's better that you refrain from talking about me like that from now on.
Excuse me?
I'm sure that there are people who were raised in foster homes that had a hard time living in this world after being forced out into society. But there are also people like my older friend that I grew up with in that foster home who is now the CEO of a $15 million company. And I also have friends from that foster home who are not lawyers and doctors. And most of them even have a happy family now, with a loving wife or husband and children around them. So please stop trying to say that all foster kids have ended up troubled and without any use to this world.
Right now, I'm not talking about all those other idiots. I'm talking about you, Jenny, and how within the company you are working for, you are the least dependable and will soon be fired because of it. And unfortunately, you found some way to get my son to marry you, and he's now stuck with someone who slacks off from their most important duties. I'm sure that you only married him for his family's money, right? I really would love to have you divorced from him sooner rather than later.
I'd like to get back to my work here soon, so...
But I'll have to wait a little longer for that, I'm sure. At least do this one thing for me by the end of today. That's leaving my son's house. And then from there, I'd like you to start working on divorcing him and being gone from his life forever. My son is my only boy in the family, and I need to make sure that he marries someone far more amazing than you. So, you need to get lost soon.
I'm getting back to work. Goodbye.
Jenny, are you home right now? You should be home working all day today, right?
Oh, I'm still at home getting some work done, George. But I'm on a small lunch break now, so we can chat for a little while.
Is that so? Well, I wanted to ask, if I came back home now, would I be bothering you while you work?
What's happened? Do you have to leave work early? Did you come down with something today that's forcing you to leave work?
Well, wait, this isn't about me coming down with anything today. My manager came up to me today saying that I haven't been using a lot of my time off this year and that it would benefit both me and the company to use it up before the next year begins. And since starting next week, I'll have more projects that I need to start, we both agreed that today I could use the afternoon off, fully paid, to head home early and use up the time off. I'll be getting tomorrow off as well, fully paid.
Is that so? Well, I'm fine with you coming home now, so don't worry about me and get your butt home.
All right, thank you.
What do you want to do about lunch?
I was just thinking that I'd buy something on the way home to eat. I'd like you to continue working on your work without having to get up to make me anything.
All right.
By the way, did my mom end up saying anything to you today?
Huh?
I'm talking about how she always seems to pick on you.
Right. Today she seemed to be in even more of a fighting mood than times before.
She really never seems to care enough when I tell her to stop messing with you, and that was probably getting in the way of you getting work done. I'm sorry, Jenny. She has to realize that what she's doing to you is not acceptable, right?
You don't have to apologize for her actions. And besides, I'm doing all right after our little chat today.
But even still, it's getting close to 3 months now. There's no denying that she's causing you a lot of stress by messing with you all the time, and that it's only getting worse as time goes on, right?
I'm fine. Well, that's what I'd like to say, but really, her treating me so poorly has started to cause some issues with me and my job.
At this point, we've really got to start thinking of a way to get her out of your hair for good. My bus is here. When I get home today, make sure to show me all the texts my mom sent to you.
Sure, will do.
If I'm able to change transfer buses quick enough at the station, I should be home in about an hour.
Okay. Have a safe return home today.
I'll do my best. See you this afternoon then.
You freaking useless dog. I just passed by your house a couple of seconds ago, and I saw that you're still sitting in there on your computer. I could have sworn that I told you earlier today to get the hell out of that house, right?
I'm in the middle of work right now.
Your company is getting ready to fire you, so you have no reason to talk to me about getting any actual work done. And I know for a fact that you're only using that title of being a remote worker as a way to slack off. Seriously, you are a freaking waste of my son's time. Not only do you have zero common sense, but you can't even do your job well enough to stay within that mediocre company. George has been saying to me that I need to treat you with the respect he thinks you deserve, but I'm not buying it. All you've done is brainwashed him into thinking that you're worth something, and that's how you got him to marry you. Well, it's not going to happen any longer. Divorce my son right now.
Patty, I've noticed you always happen to text me around this time every weekday, right?
And so what?
Could this mean that you choose to talk to me only during this time every day because you expect that your son is at work and can't do anything to stop you?
Well, you might be onto something there. Actually, you are 100% correct about that. But this is all for the sake of my son. I have to protect him from you, and that means waiting for him to be busy with his work to start my plans of attack and making sure you go away. Having to think that such a useless dog is my son's wife. I am not the kind of mother that is going to let you continue taking advantage of my son, all in order to get my family's money.
Are you finished saying everything you've wanted to tell me?
Oh, I have so much more that I'd like to say to you. I'm going to keep tearing into you until you leave my son and run away from me.
So you're going to continue with this even though your son is sitting right next to me now?
Huh?
This all happened just a little bit ago, but he was allowed to take the rest of today and tomorrow off from work, and he only arrived home just a few minutes ago.
So you're telling me that George is there with you right now?
Yep.
And he's sitting with you looking at all the things I've said to you?
Yep. And I really need to end things here so that I can get back to my work. So from now on, you're going to have to go through him if you have anything else to say to me today. Now I'll be going.
Well, if that's the case, then that's completely fine with me. Really, I didn't want for him to have to see everything I'd said to you today. But if he's seen everything already, then that makes my job of explaining things to him a whole lot smoother.
Mom?
George. Come on now. If you were finally going to take the chance to get a day off work, you should have come back home to me to hang out for a little while. I'm sure that it's pretty boring having to hang around that house all day with a useless dog like her, right? That's right. How about tonight you and I go out for some steaks? And I'll make sure to get us a reservation at one of those high-end steakhouses. It's been almost 5 years now since your father passed away, so it'll be nice to have a steak again since we haven't eaten steak together since that day.
I'm sorry, Mom, but I'm not in the mood to go out for a steak tonight. I'm actually quite pissed at you.
Huh?
Stop trying to act like what you've been doing is okay.
George, what's happened to you?
When did I ever say that I wanted to get a divorce from Jenny? And the fact that you've been speaking so poorly of your own son's wife is good reason for me to want to punch you in the face right now. Did you actually think that I'd let you continue with that crap without stepping in?
What are you talking about? Come on now. Talk about what's all going on right now very carefully. You are a graduate from a very highly sought-after university. And you are on the path to becoming an elite in the working world. But unlike you, your wife right now is nothing more than a lost cause from a foster home who does nothing but work as an office lady. No matter how hard you try to make it look possible, the two of you are not meant to be married.
Mom, did we not tell you this yet? Jenny is from the same university as I am.
Huh?
And not only that, but she was able to get into that university with the full ride scholarship. And as for what she does for work right now, let's just say that the company isn't as well known as the one I'm working for, but her income is higher than mine.
Huh? That useless dog. How the hell does she... You guys can't just hide things like that from me. Especially when it's been so long since you both got married and she became a part of my family.
You can act like we were trying to hide this from you all you want, but her and I graduated in the same class, and we can show you proof that she's in fact better than me in some ways. Heck, I'd even be willing to show you our pay stubs, so you can see with your own very eyes that we aren't playing.
Are you serious? You're telling me that that parentless foster child...
We have told you plenty of times before that it's not okay to judge someone just based off their past life when they were a child. If you understand everything I've told you, I'd like for you to apologize to Jenny when she's done with work today, and it better come from your heart.
Jenny, I'm assuming that you're finished with work by now?
That's right. I just finished up and turned off my computer a second ago.
I heard a lot of things from George earlier today, just after lunch. So you actually did end up graduating from university after all. And not just from any university, but from the same one as George? Why were you hiding all of that from me?
What?
All of that information would have been really helpful to me had you told me a lot sooner. Especially since without that very important piece of information, all you are is a useless foster child that is about to be fired from a company that has no use for her. I needed to know that you were a university graduate because that would have changed the way I spoke to you before.
Did I not tell you all about my education back when I first met you in person? I explained that we met each other because we went to the same university together, and that's why we're together now.
Huh? You mentioned that to me before?
Well, I can see that even if you did know about that before, somewhere along the way you got confused and started to think differently about me.
That's right. But even if you came from the same university as my son, there are still plenty of other things wrong with you. You still ended up growing up with no parents and in a foster home. So, to make up for you having that unfortunate part of your past haunting my family, I'd like for you to start paying me $1,000 every month.
$1,000?
If you are able to promise me that you'll send me $1,000 a month for the rest of my life, then I'll allow you to stay married to George.
Really?
I know about how you're making more money than my son is right now. Allow me to be frank about this. A woman that makes more than her husband is not viewed as a good thing in this world. But if I were to ask you to quit your job right now, George would keep coming after me, saying I'm bullying you or something, right? So to make it seem as though you're not making as much money as you say, I'd like you to pay me $1,000 a month, and I'll promise to leave you alone.
What?
However, in order for me to keep my end of the promise, you have to promise that you'll never tell my son about any of this deal we'll make. So if you'd like to continue to be the wife of my elite son, you listen to everything I've just said and do it. That should be okay with you, right? Pick up the dang phone, Jenny. I've noticed that you still haven't put that $1,000 into my account. And so I came all the way to your place to tell you to your face to give me that money. But why is there a lock on the door and a sign saying the place is for sale?
That's because after moving out of that house, the realtor has come to start cleaning the place up a bit more to start showcasing it to people looking into the place.
You guys moved out? Why did you move?
If you don't know what the reason is for that yet, try asking your son. Goodbye.
George, why the hell did you move out of that place? You haven't even told me the new address that you guys have.
That's because I've cut ties to you, Mom.
Huh?
Did I not tell you about a month ago to apologize to my wife when we last spoke about what you did to her? Because looking back into our text history, I did say that, and you replied to me meaning that you read that text. But for some unknown reason to me, you going to apologize to her, turning into you threatening her to pay you $1,000 a month.
Wait. Did that witch talk to you about all of that? I told her to keep her mouth shut about it, so as part of the deal. Her not even being able to uphold that end of the promise is why foster children like her are useless.
The reason why I know about what you said to her is because as she was texting you then, I was looking over her shoulder.
Huh?
And when she finished texting you, she turned to me and I told her that it was over. That from now on, her and I would no longer be a part of your family.
That's...
And I'll leave you with this as a warning. Trying to come and find us at our offices isn't going to be possible for you. I told my boss about the current situation, and he was kind enough to allow me to move to a different office away from you. And the same thing goes for Jenny and her job. Well, it's not like her office mattered to you, though, because you never even knew where she was working in the first place, or what company she worked for.
Wait, what am I going to do now, though?
I don't care.
What?
For the past 2 years now, you've been getting Social Security, right? And you've been working part-time for a while now as well, right? There's also that money left over from Dad that you said you'd never touch after he passed away.
Well, about that last part.
So you should be all right then, right? Now, goodbye, forever.
Wait a moment, George. I quit that part-time job. And as for all that money your dad left for me, I've used it all up. When talking about that last part, where Patty told her son that she had quit her job and was without any more money, that really surprised the both of us. Considering that after her husband passed, she should have been left with around $80,000 and still be receiving a decent Social Security. George and I just looked at each other after reading that and sighed. Apparently, she had spent all of that money without putting much thought into what to do after it was gone, besides hoping that she could rely on her son to support her. But when she found out how much I was making, decided that it'd be better to just have me pay her a little each month in return for not bullying me anymore. After both George and I had agreed that we'd cut ties with her and never see her again, we made sure to explain to all of his family before telling her. And since they all agreed that what we were doing was necessary, they told us that they'd figure out something for her since she no longer had enough money to support herself. In other words, that meant them all introducing her to a job working on a production line. So as of right now, she's out there working every day within that factory, making minimum wage that is barely enough to keep her in her house and keep all the lights on there. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Did you finish up at the doctor already, Rhea? How was the result?
I'm done. Hey, aren't you at work, Callum? Is it all right for you to be texting me?
A little bit is fine. I'm just really worried about your result. I can't concentrate on work, lol.
Really? You must love me a lot.
Of course. So, how was it?
Well, it is breast cancer. They said I should get surgery.
OMG. How advanced is it, and how far has it spread? You'll be alright if you get surgery now, right?
Well, I thought I'd tell you the details after you get back from work. But do you want to know now, Callum?
Now, if possible. Like I said earlier, I've been worrying about this all day. Would you prefer not to tell me over texts?
Maybe a little difficult to say right now. Yeah. I'm afraid of your reaction, Callum.
Afraid of my reaction? Why? Is it bad? Don't tell me it's too late to save you.
No, we should be fine there. As long as I have the surgery, there should be no threat to my life.
Oh, thank God. So, it's something else? I'll accept whatever it is, so just tell me.
Well, here goes. It looks like the cancer is more advanced than I thought. It might be difficult to preserve the breast tissue.
Oh, no. I'm not an expert, so I'll have to rely on the internet for this. Maybe this is an inaccurate way of putting it, but does that mean they'll be removing your breast tissue?
Yeah, it's exactly as you say. Well, not all of the tissue, just part of it.
I can't really picture it, but what's going to happen? Are your breasts just going to get smaller?
It depends on the case, but it might have an effect on their shape. They might become asymmetrical in shape or size. I'm sorry if that happens.
No, I'm the one who should be sorry. I couldn't imagine it properly, so I had to ask. Of course, it's not as simple as your breasts getting smaller.
No, not at all. According to some people, sometimes it can just be a case of them getting smaller.
But isn't this hard on you, Rhea? I'm sorry I asked so many insensitive questions. I should have thought of your feelings.
It's fine, Callum. Aren't you the one who'll be disappointed by this change? I don't think you'll like it when my breasts look weird.
Don't say that. I didn't marry your breasts, Rhea. I don't care at all if this changes the shape of them.
Are you sure?
What would I gain from lying about this? I'm just glad that you'll be able to live through this.
Thank you, Callum. Now I can feel positive about getting the surgery.
That makes me feel better too. I'm very blessed to have you as my wife.
I'm glad to have you as a husband, too. Thank you for being so understanding.
That goes both ways.
Rhea, I heard from Callum. You're getting surgery for breast cancer? That's right, Sharon. It's not a good feeling. I'm already nervous. I didn't know you were the type to get nervous. You don't seem to be the sensitive type. Well, all sorts can go wrong in surgery. There's also the fact that they'll be putting scalpels in my breasts, so of course I'd be nervous. They're an important part of my body as a woman. Really? You don't behave like a lady. I thought you don't really care about your femininity because you always dress so dull. I'm doing my best to do what works. I don't want to dress in a way that your son dislikes, after all. How you normally dress is you doing your best? Then you have no taste. Maybe you should just give up, because you don't seem to be naturally inclined for that. No, I think it's important to make an effort. Maintaining your appearance is important. That advice means nothing coming from you. Well, I know you're not the most fashionable, but do your best, honey. Oh, but I do worry about you. You mean the surgery? There's almost no chance of failure, so I should be fine. There's minimal risk to my health, too. No, not that. Not the surgery. I'm worried about your marriage with my son. Our marriage? Thanks for the concern, but Callum and I are doing just fine. I don't think you have any reason to be concerned, Sharon. Don't worry. But you're talking about the present, aren't you? What about after the surgery? With your plain looks and your breasts losing their shape on top of that? That sounds pretty grim. We should be fine. Callum said I don't need to worry about that. I believe him. I wonder. Callum is very kind. He's probably just saying that to make you feel better. Well, I'll be getting the surgery anyway. So, I have to worry about that first. If you say so. But you'll be less attractive after that. When you have nothing else going for you, maybe Callum will change his mind? That's not really for me to decide. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, after all. You're always so argumentative, Rhea. That's why I'm saying that you lack femininity. You should learn more from me. Sharon, you're pushing 60 and still wearing miniskirts. I like to think I'm better than that. Are you really want to lecture others about fashion? Callum is always embarrassed by his mother's wardrobe, so maybe you should stop. Isn't it part of fashion to wear clothes that actually suit you? You're a really annoying daughter-in-law.
Don't you know that you should respect your mother-in-law? I do wonder what Callum sees in you.
I don't know. You'd have to ask Callum himself. But he says he loves me for my personality too, so I quite like myself. If you want your son to like me, maybe you could learn from me?
You always think you're so clever with that mouth of yours. You won't be laughing for long. Don't come crying to me if Callum leaves you after the surgery.
That doesn't seem like it's happening, so don't hold on to your hopes for that. Maybe you should stop being so rude or you won't be laughing for long, Sharon.
You don't have to ask. Bye! Rhea, I just finished work. I'm coming home. What's for dinner tonight?
What? You were so horrible to me this afternoon. How could you say such a thing? Are you going to pretend that didn't happen?
Huh? Sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about. Why are you so angry?
This is your email address, right? Ew! Carved out breasts are gross, it says. When you reassured me the other day, were you lying to me?
Wait a second. I really don't remember sending that.
Then how do you explain the email? You sent this to me this afternoon from your phone, didn't you, Callum?
No, I didn't have a break today, and I didn't even touch my phone. Around that time, I was talking to a client.
Huh? So you really didn't send this?
It wasn't me. I always tell you, but you mean everything to me, Rhea. I would never do anything to hurt you.
Are you sure? Can I trust you on this?
If you don't believe me, you can check with my coworkers. Everyone knows I had a meeting with a client. But I'd like you to believe me if you can.
All right. I believe you, Callum. I'm sorry I jumped to conclusions.
No, it's understandable, because it is from my email address. But why did someone use my email? I really don't get it.
Did someone hack you?
I guess that's possible. But it's strange that they know about your breast cancer, don't you think? And I don't get why they'd send an email to you, Rhea.
I guess so. But you'd better check just in case.
You're right. I'll get my PC looked at. It's not impossible that this is a virus. But if it is, what a pain.
Why? What's wrong?
The laptop I left with my parents uses the same email address. I have to go get it, so that's a bit of a bother.
Wait a minute. Do you remember all the devices that use that email address?
I do remember, yeah. But why?
Just tell me.
Don't get so angry. The desktop PC at home, my phone, plus my laptop at my parents'. I think that's all of them.
You're certain?
I'm a little hazy about the one at my parents'. But I'm pretty sure. Why? Is that important?
Thanks. I think I might have figured out who did this thanks to what you just told me.
Seriously?
Dead serious. So, there's something I want you to do to help me confirm. Can you help me?
I'll help you with anything if we might be able to catch the culprit. What do I need to do?
I'll tell you when I get home. Do you have a minute, Sharon? It's something important.
What is it, Rhea? Did Callum lose his attraction for you?
No, that's not happening. So, don't you worry about that. You'd better worry about yourself rather than others at the moment.
About myself? What are you on about?
You're the one who's been sending me harassing messages through Callum's email address. aren't you, Sharon?
Oh, those harassing messages? The ones saying that your breasts would lose their shape or be gross after surgery? You told me about those when you came over the other day. Why am I being blamed for those?
Do you know about spyware for people suspecting their partners are having an affair? That kind of software is really advanced these days.
Huh? I thought we were talking about those harassing emails. You suddenly changed the topic completely.
No, this has everything to do with the topic. Callum has a laptop that he keeps at your house, doesn't he? I installed spyware like that on that laptop. Of course, I did it with Callum's permission.
So what if you did? I don't see what that has to do with anything.
There's all sorts of different types to this kind of spyware. Some of them take regular screenshots of what the user sees on the desktop.
Screenshots?
That's right. Here's one of the screenshots it caught.
Yes, and? Are you trying to say that I sent those harassing messages? I was just trying to look up something on that laptop. What's the problem there?
You're right. There's no problem if you were just looking something up. But only if. The time that the email was sent and the time that you were using the laptop matches, Sharon.
You call that evidence? This is ridiculous.
Of course, that on its own isn't evidence enough. But it was enough to make a start for a deeper check. By checking properly, I could find out which device was used to send those emails. That's what you call evidence.
Oh, stop this nonsense. You're the one who was spying on me. I'll report you to the police.
That laptop is Callum's. I got those screenshots after getting permission from him. So there's no legal issues there. I've also got Jamal's permission. If anything, using someone else's PC and email address would be the legal issue.
You got my son and my husband involved? Did you show them both the evidence?
Of course I did. Even if you're family, this is a crime.
Hey, what did Callum and Jamal say? They're not angry, are they? It was just a little prank.
Yes, I have a message from Callum. He says he's cutting ties with you, so you should never contact him again. Jamal says he's decided to divorce you too. So you'd better prepare yourself before you get home.
Are you kidding me? I just insulted your looks a little bit. I didn't do anything to deserve this treatment.
That's not for you to decide, Sharon. It's for the three of us to decide in this case.
Come on, please. Can't you tell them to rethink this, Rhea? This is your fault, so you should take responsibility.
I'm impressed that you have the nerve to say such a thing after what you did. You always judge people by their appearance. But why don't you take this opportunity to improve that ugly personality of yours? After that, Jamal divorced Sharon because he was furious with what she did. Callum was also very angry with his mother, so he decided to press charges against her. But Jamal had a discussion with him and offered compensation instead of suing Sharon for emotional damages. Callum accepted this, since it was his father's wishes. As a stay-at-home wife for a long time, Sharon wouldn't have been able to support herself and pay the money for the lawsuit. Jamal's arrangement was a final act of mercy to Sharon as they separated. As for me, after a successful surgery, I'm back to living normally and healthily. My breasts have changed shape due to the tissue removal. But Callum still loves me with all my heart, even after these changes. I suppose this would be a big deal for someone shallow. That's why if you only care about people's appearances like Sharon, you won't be treated well by others in return. Beauty comes from within, after all.